Hello, YouTube. My name is Kevin, and welcome to this vlog journal. This journal is going to catalog my experiences in the diagnosis I've had recently of frozen shoulder, which is a very unique little affliction that came on to me rather suddenly. It's really rather common. However, it's also something that there's not a lot of information on. And I've found that not a lot of people have a place to speak out about it. So I thought, I've got a YouTube channel. I haven't used it in a long time, but I figured this is a good place where I can share my experiences and other people can share their experiences in the comments section. And maybe we can get some information. If your loved one had it, what did they do? How did they handle it? What was their experience with it? I will briefly give you an introduction on far as what happened with me. Okay, today is May 11th, 2023, and this was probably back in mid-April, maybe early April. I woke up one morning, and I felt real stiff. I couldn't get my left arm, which, by the way, I'm right-handed, so I couldn't get my left arm up. It felt like it was really stiff. And there was probably something leading up to this, but I never really noticed because it's my off arm. Things happen, whatever. So a few weeks later, I was at work, and something was falling over. There's a book or something like that. I went to grab it, and I used my left hand because my left hand was closest. It was just instinct. Just, boom, reached out. And I felt a pain that I can hardly describe. It went from the top of my shoulder all the way down to my fingertips. It felt like I got stabbed and set on fire on my arm. It was the most intense pain. When asked by the physical therapist how it felt, they gave me a range from 1 to 10. I gave it an 8.5. It was one of the most excruciating pains I've ever felt in my entire life. Now, I've never had a bone broken. I've been very fortunate with that. I've had injuries. I played high school football. I probably am a living, breathing advertisement for CTE. I probably have my brains are all screwed up. I've had concussions. I've had sprains. I've had cuts. I've had scrapes. I've had hyperextensions. I've never, I've had bruised bones. Never felt anything like what I felt that day. I've had it happen several times since. But I knew there was a problem at that point. And I had to go through a lot of different hoops medically. I went from my doctor. My doctor thought it was probably something arthritic. I had to get a x-ray. It took forever to get the x-ray. The x-rays were negative, but it took forever to get into the doctor. I finally got to the physical therapist. And that leads me to yesterday when I was at the physical therapist, and she confirmed that it was frozen shoulder. And I said, what? Because I'd never heard of it, because I have no life, apparently. Because some people have heard of it, and I'm just one of the ones who never did. It's very common, especially with women. However, unless I'm the bearded woman, you'll notice I'm not a woman. I try to give you evidence, but I don't think YouTube would allow me to do that, and I don't think you need the laughs that bad. But the point is that I also happen to have... I'm pre-diabetic, and I am working on my A1C, which can affect that as well. It can help cause frozen shoulder. And I'm 44, so I'm also in the age range, too. It's between 40 and 60. What is frozen shoulder? Well, I will give you the small word, big picture version of it. Basically, you've got your shoulder ball and your shoulder joint, and there's a membrane in between the two. And for reasons, a lot of which are unknown, it will go ahead and inflame. And when it does this, it affects the nerves, it affects everything there, and you will have no real range of motion. I have very little range of motion in my left arm now. Hardly any. I look worse than NBA player from the 70s who was not on cocaine. I really can't move my arm whatsoever. My goal one day is to get full range of motion back and be able to hit a free throw like Bill Cartwright did back in the early 90s. Put the arm up and then but I can't get my arm over my head right now. But I have a series of exercises that I'm going to use to fix this. And I'll explain all of these in future updates to this vlog. I thought this was a good way of introducing me and introducing my plight, my dilemma, and I'm hoping that I will get better soon. However, I have seen that it can take months and months and months, if not years, if ever, to get that full range back. But we'll get into that another time. I just wanted to use this as an introduction. And feel free to introduce yourself down in the comments section. I'd love to hear the stories about, have you or a loved one been diagnosed with frozen shoulder? How was their experience with it? I have heard, women who have given birth, which I believe, if anything, people have said that, giving birth is 10 out of 10 pain. And I respect any woman who has given birth, and they say that that's the most painful thing. I've heard women say that this was more painful than giving birth, which I can't believe that. I have a hard time believing that, but if they say so, my God. It was so bad that if it was worse than childbirth, it was intense. And I want to know, is that, the kind of experience that people have had. So, anyhow, again, welcome to the YouTube channel. Welcome to the vlog. Feel free to comment. Let me know what you think, what you have, people have diagnosis and whatnot, and I will share my other, information as we go along. I'm doing a little history of the knowledge of a frozen shoulder, because really there's not much out there. There's a lot of little information, little articles out there, which I have read, but, let's start a community. Let's start talking about this. So again, thank you, and enjoy the view.